And welcome back to the Vintage Telephones channel. Today I am showing you my 1973 automatic telephone and electronic company, or ATE, Protea telephone. This telephone is named after the flower, the Protea, and this phone was made in South Africa, and it's in a really nice red color. Anyway, little backstory, I found this telephone upon a search on eBay, of course, like a regular search on seeing what's out there, and found this by accident. Now, the seller had listed this as a Western Electric 500, and obviously that is not true. I got it for a decent price, didn't pay too much for it, and it was here in the States, so I didn't have to pay extra for shipping. But anyway, this telephone is from South Africa, and yeah, so here is a little bit of the information. So the Protea telephone was introduced first in 1968, and it was made for use for the South African Post Office. And for my collectors who are across the pond, specifically in the UK, you might think this telephone looks or has been inspired by the Ericsson Edelux or Edelux telephone. And you are right, it was an inspiration for the design of this particular phone. So, for the South African Post Office, this telephone, the Protea, was the very last telephone or the rotary telephone made before they switched everything to the more modern, push button, tone dialing, and more of the modern technology. But this phone was greatly modernized compared to its predecessors. For example, we got all new circuitry. Handset includes all electronic components. So they did away with the carbon transmitters, for example. And we got a reduced noise level. It's got a it has a 1,000 ohm resistance. We got an improved impedance. And instead of a bell, we have a tone ringer. And most obvious about this phone is that it is smaller and compact. So this telephone really is meant to be known for its dimple dial made by ATE. Obviously, this does not have a dimple dial. There are actually 3 possibilities of dial for this. So we got the dimple dial, obviously, which this does not have. Some of these are also equipped with a GPO type 21 dial 21. And this dial, which I had no clue, I thought this dial was actually made in South Africa as well. It is actually made in Switzerland. It is a Swiss dial made by Albiswerk of Zurich. So this is a Swiss rotary dial. And it's really quiet too, very quiet. So what's nice about this dial is that it has a matching bezel, so it's red as well, to match, which is pretty cool. Now, originally the middle part here that holds the number card was missing. And it's actually supposed to have a plastic insert, obviously, that is missing. But I found something that could fit. This is actually a metal ring that I managed to snap in. It actually snaps in pretty well. It actually came from a automatic electric dial blank, and I was surprised that it fit. But the dial here I had to recreate because obviously that was missing too, but this is the type of dial center card that it would have had originally. So yeah, so we got all modern electronic components, more compact. Here's a look at the side view. There used to be, you see that circle there, they used to have one of those stick-on pencil holders. It's like that cylindrical shaped thing with the hole through it, and you could stick your pen or pencil through it if you needed to write down someone's phone number while you were on the phone. So the phone is actually pretty dirty, and it took a lot of elbow grease getting it back to at least close to new. But obviously we didn't really succeed in that as far as scuffs and scratches. But there's a lot of scratches, but it's not that bad a shape that I thought it was going to be. But handset. Here's a look at the handset. It looks a little bit like a GPO type handset, but I think it's a bit longer, and we're obviously missing the little cup thing here found on 706s and 746 handsets. That's just a regular, I guess, a regular run-of-the-mill cap here. So yeah, here's a better look at the dial. Now, taking this dial apart, the bezel that holds the numbers on it, the red part, is actually non-removable from the dial chassis. And the best way I can describe it is that it is riveted in. So by the plastic, it's plastic riveted. And I'll show you at the end of the video with this slideshow, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I could not remove it, and for the sake of not breaking anything, I kept it attached. I didn't break it off. I did not want that. So, yeah. Dial only needed a light oiling. I didn't have to take anything apart. It's more of a plastic type dial, but it is very, very nice. And I did have to adjust the spring a bit because it was running a bit slow. The cord I had to replace. It used to be a red one, but it was dried out and cracked. So what I did is I found it looks kind of nice with this light gray compared to the red, but that's the best I could do. And I put on the right type of slide terminals on there as well. So it's definitely better than when it was before, and it was all sticky too. The line cord was also really sticky, and probably in about 10 or 20 years this thing's going to start cracking as well. Unfortunately, we are missing the plug, and apparently they called him the Protea plug as well, and it looked very reminiscent of an old Australian type flat wall plug. And this one has two conductors here, and they were bare wire, so I put on some spade tips here so that we can easily test the phone without having those bare wires. And I might find a little terminal box for it later on, but we'll keep it as it is now. So what I'll do now is I'll show you the bottom of the phone. So here is the bottom. There's really no markings here other than that PT there. And this is a rubber mat. And it's exactly what you would find on an Edelux telephone as well. You can see where the inspiration came from. Yeah, so these phones are they come in. So the Protea comes in an array of colors. So we got black, ivory, two-tone gray, red, yellow, and green. So I was lucky enough to find a red one, and I didn't have to pay any customs or international shipping. Oh, and also, mentioning the tone ringer, this is the adjuster wheel. And what's cool about the tone ringer is that it comes through the handset. And I don't really know what the technical details of a tone ringer, but there is a neon tube in here, and my guess is that it's amplified through the handset. So I have this tone ringer on the softer setting because the loudest setting, it hurts my ears. It is a ear piercing tone ringer. Exactly what it would sound like on a trim phone, along the lines of that. So what we'll do next is we will do the demonstration. So we will be right back. All right, and now we will pick up the handset and I will give you some dial tone. And the light there changes as I speak. That means the transmitter is working. Give it a couple of pulses. Give 2. All right. And you'll see the numbers match. I will dial. All right, and last but not least, we will demonstrate the tone ringer. Here we go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Pictures will be coming next.